Alright, so welcome back again. My name is Jesse, and in this wonderful and exciting tutorial, we're trying to see how to visualize a neural network. So in case you are doing any deep learning tasks and then you want to be able to visualize your neural network, we're trying to see all the various methods we can use to visualize your neural network. So some of the things we're trying to do is that we're trying to get the architecture of a neural network like this, right? So there are different formats of neural network architectures. We have the perceptron, feed-forward, and the rest. So how do you visualize what you have built? So we're trying to check them out. So I'll go back again to Colab, and then we'll just go straight away to the methods. So there are several methods, but we'll be trying to see how to work with TensorFlow, ANN visualizer, Netron, and then TensorBoard. So let's go back and see. So we are going to load our EDA packages, right? And then also load our machine learning packages, that is scikit-learn, and then also for building a deep learning neural network, we'll be using TensorFlow, right? Okay, so let's go back again. So these are datasets which are taken from my GitHub repository, and I'm just reading it directly here, right? So this is the iris dataset. You're trying to use the iris for the basis, then you can use any one you want. So we're just going to encode these ones because these are categorical. We're going to encode them as numbers, right? So we're going to use this particular option, and then we have already encoded the entire stuff. So we need to specify our features and then our labels, which we have already done. Then later on, you split our data set, and then now we have the most important thing, that the number of input features and the output. Because as we learned earlier on some time ago, every model has this option, right? It's having the input layer, right, which is the number of features, or the number of features plus 1 to compensate for bias. And then you have the hidden layers, right, which we use this particular formula to get it, right? But you can create any one you want. And for the output layer, is always the target, right? So the number of target, and if its regression is 1, if its classification or binary it is 1 or more, based on the activation function you're using. So let's see how to do something like this. So I'll just go back again, and then we have already specified the input and the output, right? Perfect. So let's build our model. So in this case, we're trying to build a model. So let me take out this, come back here, and then we will just create a simple file to describe the model you are building, right? To build a neural network. So that's what they're trying to do here. So we already know the formula. So I'll come back again. I don't know whether you can see it. I hope everybody can see it well. I hope it's not too small. Let me make it bigger a little. Yeah, I hope everybody can see it well. Right. Okay. Now, so let's see how to work on it. So we're going to just define a model, sequential model, and then we are just specifying the first layer, right, an activation function of rectified linear unit, and then these things are constant, right? We just want to show the concept of visualizing it. The input shape is the number of features, which we have as 4, right? So you have to make sure that it is in this particular format, and this comma here is important because that is a tuple, right? It requires a tuple. Then the softmax, this is going to be the output, which is the number here. We have, say, petosis, virginica, and then the rest, right? So just 3. That's what you're specifying it here. And now we are going to build and compile the model. Perfect. Now, how do you visualize? So what is the first step before we fit? How we can get the summary of the model? So let's get the summary. It's going to be my model that I've built dot summary. So this is going to tell me about the model that we have built and then everything we need. Perfect. We have not trained it yet. Perfect. Now in case I want to visualize it, how do I do that before I fit it to compile? So I can just come back again, and let's see the first method. This is going to be method number 1, right? So the method 1 is that we are using plot model from TensorFlow, right? TF. That's what you are using. That's the first method, right? Method number 1. So how do you do that? So it's very simple. Just going to go with from TensorFlow .keras.utils import plot model, right? So that's what you're using. We are using a particular one, and this one takes this option. So to visualize, let's go with plot model, right? And as you can see from here, it's taking the model, right? The model that you have, the neural network model, and then the file, and then the shape, right? So I can just copy this one here, to save us time. So I'll come back here. Yeah. So we're going to take the model, right? The model that we have. We're going to take the file, so we can give it any name. So let's go to, let's say iris. Go back here. Iris model, right? .png, and then I'm specifying the show shapes. So I'll just plot the first one, and then you see the result. So the shapes is that in that case I'm trying to tell this particular package that don't show me the shapes, right? So this is going to be the first one. So if I run it like this, it's going to virtualize this particular model. Very nice. So this is the one without the shapes, right? So it's going to tell us the input layer, right? It's going to tell us the other layers, the hidden layers, dense layer 1, 2, and then the rest, right? Now I can also come back again and do the same thing that I did. So this time I'm visualizing with showing the nodes, right? So it's going to be this. Specify this one as true. I run it again, and I'm going to see that it's going to give us more details, right? So you can see the first layer, right? The input, and then the output, the dense layer, dense 1, dense 2, and then the output, right? This is the output layer, right? Very simple. So this is one of the first method of trying to visualize your neural network. Very simple, right? This is going to give you a very nice flow chart. Apart from this, there's also another way of visualizing it. So this is going to be method 1. Let's check the next one, which is going to be method number 2. This is going to be method 2. So method 2, we are using the ANN visualizer, right? So I don't know whether it has been updated, but let's try. That's another alternative. So in case you don't have, you can just install it with this. So pip install ANN visualizer. Hope who's able to find it. Yep, so it's able to download it, right? So this is another way we can actually visualize our model. So let's take out this back here. Perfect, so that's finished. So I want to put this one here so that we know what you're doing. This method 2. So we are done with that, right? Now how do you work with it? This is also very simple. This also follows the plot model approach. So to visualize, I'm going to go with I'm going to import it. So import ANN visualizer, or simply go with this option. So from ANN visualizer, right, .vis, visualize, import our ANN vis, right? So there's a package you'll be using to help us visualize it. Let's see what this one has to offer us. So it's going to be, let me bring it up, my ANN vis, right? And then from here I'm going to pass in the parameters. So it's going to take the model, then the file name, right, and then the title. So this is something very basic, right, just like the previous one. So I pass in my model, and also pass in the file name, or you can just give this title straight away without giving the file name, right? So let's give it my file name. So file name, let's call it as my, let's say iris model 2, right? Let's go to iris and then model dot, as you can see, it's going to be graph this. So graph this, right? I think it's C, I'm not sure. Let's go back again and check it out. Yeah, graph this, right? Perfect. You can also give the title. So let's give a title, which in this case is going to be, as you can see, graph this and then the title, right? So I can give it as my title. So iris neural network, right? Something like that, right? So this is a very simple package to help us with that. But since this one works with graph this, you have to also import graph. So graph this, import, I'll just go straight away with this, import graph this. Yeah, perfect, right? So I'll now run it like this, and as you can see, the moment I run this one, if I go back and I check here, this place is empty, right, with only this particular image there, which was coming from the previous one. So if I go back and I click on this one here, it's going to create a folder. It's giving us an error, but let's fix it. So layer not supported for visualization. Let's try and fix it out. So that's one of the errors, right? That's one of the errors that you will be having. So we'll try and fix it out. Don't worry about it. It's not working, right? So the reason this one is not working is that I think because of the update of the API for TensorFlow. But that is how to do that, right? Apologies for that. That is how to do that. So just use this option, right? That is option number 2, right? And after visualizing this, you can actually see it, right? It's going to generate a file. So it's going to show you the plot, right? Very simple and very nice. You can also, after that, you can just go back again and then you can also get the file that has been created, this particular file, and then you can just get that file by going with, just say my graph file, right? So it's going to be my graph in case it was able to generate. Then from file, graph.source from file, right? Then you pass in the particular file there, which is iris, and then model.gv, right? That is how to plot it. And so this is going to give you the option, and now you can just go back again and then you can just plot it with the graph file, right? That is how to do that. This is a method number 2. Let's move on from this to method number 3. So I'm going to feed the model to train very fast because it's simple, and I'm going to evaluate it, and then let's check for the accuracy of this particular model. This is like 98%, right? That means that's very, very powerful. It's very good, right? Because it's iris dataset. Now the next thing that for you to try the next method, you are going to save it with H5. You can save it in different formats, but let's save it as H5. And after saving it, it's going to come back. We come back to our folder here, and you can see that it has come. I'm just going to download it. So download it here. So it's going to download it perfectly for us. Perfect. Now let's see the next method. So this is that's downloaded. So the next method for visualizing is that you're going to, this is going to be method number 3. Method 3, right? So the method 3, we are using Netron, right, to help us with that. So Netron comes in 2 formats. We have the software, right, the app itself, and we have the browser or online version. So online, we have the offline, right? So let's see how to work with this. So to be able to install it, just go to this option. For the app, install it with this. So pip install Netron, or in case you're on Windows or any operating system, can just go with the particular system. So in case I'm in Windows or Ubuntu, snap install Netron, right? In case you're also on Macintosh, so brew install Netron, right? Because it's both around. This is for Macintosh, so this is for Macintosh, and this is for Linux. So you can use any of them to install. This is basic Python, right? That's how to install it on the system. So we have 2 options. So let's first of all try with the first one. So I'm just going to go back again, and then I'm going to install it. So I'm not going to install it here. I'm just going to go back to my system, which I've already done. So this is my system here, and then I'm just going to go with snap install Netron, right? That is my system, right? So I need to use sudo to install it. So it's going to ask me this particular question, right? So I've already installed it, right? Perfect. So to start it, just go with Netron, and then you can now work on this. So this is the first option. This is the third option rather. So it's opening perfectly for us on my system. This is how it is, right? Now when this opens, you can now open a model. So I just go back to this and open a model. It's going to lead me to a place that I can pick a model. So we already created a model from here. We had this particular model here, right? Iris dataset. I'm going to paste it there. So it supports several formats. So this is it, right? So it has given us our model, which is almost the same thing as we saw here with the plot model. The same thing here, right? almost the same thing. Very nice. It's the same thing you are seeing with the Netron, right? As you can see, you can make it bigger, right? And one thing that as I click on this is going to be the input layer. It's going to give us the node properties and the various things there, right? If I click on this one, if I click on the dense layer, so this is going to be the dense layer, the TensorFlow keras, the model type, and the various parameters, right? The various activation parameters for each and every one of them. The same thing for the rect relu. So it's very, very important and exciting, right? Giving you all the various attributes and then the node properties. And this is going to be the dense layer, right? Very nice. So that is the basic overview using Netron. This is the app, right? Now I can change it in case I want to change this one from this particular option to this a different view. This is a horizontal view, vertical view. You go back here and I'll specify that okay, show it horizontally. So it's going to go in this particular option. And you can expand it. And as I click on it, it's going to show the properties here, right? This is the other method you can also do that, right? Very simple. The other way is just go back to your browser and then enter Netron app, right? So this is the next one. So Netron app, this particular one, that is an other alternative for visualizing your new one. So you have seen the other option, which is the same thing there. Open, and then we just pass in our model. If I pass it, it's going to load. This is the option number 4, still using Netron, right? And you can see it from here. I can also change the view by going to show horizontal, and I can also make it bigger. Click on it, and we get our result. This is option number 4, right? Very simple. So I've seen this one, plot model. We have seen ANN visualizer, which is not working at the moment, and then we have seen how to use Netron as a standalone app using this particular option here, and also to use our inside the browser, right? Perfect. Now let's see the last method. So this is going to be the last method. So this is method number 3. Come back here, make it better so that feature generation can benefit from. Yeah. And now this is going to be method number 4. So this, or 5 as we can call it. So method 4, right, which is using Tensor. So TensorBoard gives you a lot of cool features, right, to help you. So in case you don't have, you can just go back again to your system and install to this pip install TensorBoard. And then with TensorBoard, the requirement for TensorBoard is that you first of all need a log folder where you're going to store your logs. We also need a callbacks function, right? That is a bit to understand that these are the basic things that we need, right? So I'll go back again, and then first of all, I'm just going to install it. So in case you don't have, you can just go with pip install TensorBoard on your system. I have it already, so it's going to tell me that it's already there. Perfect. And then the next option is after installing it, you need to be able to load the extension. So we load it with the % magic sign to load extension. Then I'll just go with TensorBoard. I'm just going to load it and activate it for us. Perfect. Now let's create a folder where I'll put in it. So if I go back and I check here, there is no folder at this side, right? So I just go back again, and I'm going to create my folder. So let's just log folder. Can spell it folder. I'm going to specify that this is going to be my logs, right? Perfect. That is the second option. The next one is the callback. So this is going to be our callback, right? So it's going to be from TensorFlow dot keras dot callbacks, right? We have callbacks here. Then I'm going to import TensorBoard, right? Perfect. Then after that, I have to specify my callbacks. So specify callbacks. It's going to be my callbacks. It's going to be my TensorBoard, and I pass in my parameters. So you see that it's taking all of these things. So the logs directory, right? or the log directory, which in this case is going to be my log file or log folder, right? And then it takes all of these other parameters, right? So you can just put them there, but let's specify it as histogram go to 1, right? You can add the various parameters if you want, but let's keep this one as simple as we can. Perfect. Now we have to connect our callbacks to our model, right? So we already have our model here, which was the one we had here. Let me go back again. Yep, this was the model, right? So I hope you are getting whatever I'm doing, right? So in case maybe the audio was off, so we have seen the first method, we have seen how to use the plot model, we have seen how to use the visualizer, we have seen how to use the net app, right? Netron app. Now let's see how to, we are trying to check on how to work with the TensorBoard, right? So we need to get our model. So I'm just going to copy this one again. To work with it, I just come back again to this is a 10 method, the TensorBoard. We have specified our logs, we have created our callback, and then we need to be able to connect our callbacks to the model. So I just go back again, and I'm going to specify the callback. So this is going to be my callback. Callback is going to be my callbacks. Right, that is it. So it's going to run it perfectly. It's not going to give us any result because I've set variables as 0. Then now, in case I want to visualize the entire stuff, to visualize the entire work, right, I just go back again and then use the magic. So come back here, TensorBoard, right, dash log directory. Then I'll specify the log folder. So log folder, right? So if I run it like that, it's automatically going to use it's going to launch it perfectly if there's no error, right? It's going to open TensorBoard for us within it. So these are the 4 main methods you can use to visualize your neural network, right? Especially TensorFlow neural networks or Keras neural networks. So by default, as it does, that's going to create a folder. It's going to create the logs folder, as you can see here. It's coming. It's the logs folder. Inside that my logs folder is going to have my train. Inside my train is going to have all the various things that we need, the plugins, the event, all of these things. So this is what is going to be used to create and generate this wonderful plot. And as you can see, it's giving us a very, very nice representation of the entire stuff. The epoch accuracy over time, right? So I'm going to have the scalars, the graphs, the distribution, and the histogram, right? And then the rest. So this is how to visualize your stuff, right? Very, very cool. And there's the epoch loss as it goes over time. This is a very powerful plot, very powerful dashboard from TensorFlow, right? And also check the graphs. And you can also download it, right? So we go back again. It's loading it, and see that this is giving us exactly the same graph that we had. So if I click on it, it's going to open here. So let me fit to screen. You can actually download this entire stuff. You can see that it's giving us the attributes, the number of controls, the dependencies, and all of these important information, right? That's for the graphs, right? So this is going to give us the graph for the entire stuff. We also have the distribution for the model over time as it's training itself. This is how it is. This is a very powerful service. Then I can also get the histograms. We specify it as only 1, right? Very simple, and it's giving us some very nice plots. So this is one of the best, right? It's even better than all the rest we have done, but this is giving us a lot of information. Then the final one is the time series, right? Which is going to be the time it has been using over time. So that is the basic overview of this. So that is the basic overview of all these ways, right? So I've seen all the different ways you can use to visualize our neural networks, right? So number 1, we have seen how to use TensorFlow plot model. You have seen how to use ANN visualizer, which was not working. You have seen how to work with Netron. You have seen how to work with TensorBoard. For Netron, you just use the app itself in which you upload, right? Or you can use the browser option here, right? So thank you for watching, and see you in the next session. Stay blessed. Bye.